Welcome back to part 3, where we're sharing my dad's journey getting misdiagnosed as type 2, but then finding out he had the autoantibodies for type 1 diabetes. I was diagnosed at 7 years old with type 1. And so he got the blood work done, and I was actually the first person to be told that you had the autoantibodies for type 1 because you couldn't get in. I don't know if you remember this, you couldn't really get into an endocrinologist. And so I had a colleague friend of mine who's an endo and has her own endocrinologist practice. Shout out Dr. Sandra Sobel. She got the blood work and was able to interpret it. And then her and I spoke, and she was like, no, it's definitely showing autoantibodies for type 1. And so I remember hysterically crying because I didn't know how fast or slow your body and your C-peptide levels were going to drop. So I was just like picturing in my head and catastrophizing the situation of like, oh my God, like in a couple months, like he's going to be full blown type 1. He's going to be knowing what it feels like to wake up in the middle of the night with like a sweaty, low blood sugar. From your point of view, what happened when you eventually got into an endocrinologist to get the official diagnosis, and what happened?
So the endocrinologist looked at my blood work and said, Mr. Bongiorno, I'm sorry to tell you, you have type 1 diabetes. And I said, I figured that. My daughter Lauren thought so. Because she knew of Lauren also. And she said, you okay? You don't look upset. You understand what that means? And I said, Doc, my daughter has it since she's 7 years old. 23 years at the time. I said she has diabetes for 23 years. I can remember once when she complained when her sugar was like 40. So I'm not going to sit here at my age and whine that I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. It's a tough thing, no doubt about it. There's plenty of worse things to have for me at this stage. And so I have it.
What was the plan that the endo made with you at that appointment? Did she say, did she give you a time frame of when she thought that your body would stop producing insulin? Did she say get on a CGM? Did she say just finger prick? Like, what was the instruction?
She suggested the CGM possibly, suggested that I was in a honeymoon phase. Fascinated that I'm in a honeymoon phase for so long. I did some research. There was someone, I think in England or Scotland, that was in a honeymoon phase my age for 7, 8 years, if I recall. But there's nothing much you could do. There really isn't much you can do. You just have to, as you produce less insulin, and you become insulin dependent.
Right now, he's on metformin. He's been checking his blood sugar manually for finger pricks, like in the morning and after meals for the past 2 years, but then decided to go on a CGM a few days ago. And so we'll talk about that in the next video.